Hey everyone, it's Brandon from Top10Gamer.com, and it's my fourth video this week. Maybe we'll even do another. Trying to do more videos now that my kids are back in school. You don't know how much of a difference that makes in terms of my concentration, my daily life. I love my kids. It's like the funnest part of every single day. But having them here all day long, all summer long, is really, really hard since I work from home. So anyway, now that we're back on track, I'm excited to get back into some more PC builds and give you guys some more information, and I'm thrilled that you're here, you're part of our channel and helping us grow. Today we're going to talk about a $700 to $800 PC build. But first of all, in this space, I just want to say that yes, I know Skylake is here, but at this price range, when things are so important, your graphics card, your processor, everything else, we're not going to go with the Skylake processor in this build. The first time that we're actually going to go with the Skylake processor is in our $1,000 build, which I'm going to be putting out probably the day after this video is released or a couple of days after, depending on when I end up uploading it. So you can look for that if you're really wanting a Skylake build. But in this price range, I think you're perfectly okay going with a Haswell build. And one of the reasons that you're going to want to do that is because a Z87 motherboard is so cheap right now. Pretty much any Z87 motherboard out there is on rebate. Motherboards that were $200 3 years ago or 2 years ago are now like 80 bucks. So you could get amazing performance for very little with Haswell. And here's a little bit more on the parts for this build. Okay, so continuing on what we were talking about, I just want to, again, talk about Skylake and why we're not doing that here. First of all, Skylake isn't going to do all that much for you if you're overclocking. So the potential here is to what? Get the i5 6600K, that's really the only one we can get in this price range. And then we got to go with the Z170 motherboard. Well, the Z170 motherboards are all a little bit more pricey for what you actually get in terms of features and everything else. So you're going to overpay for that, and then you have to get a CPU cooler. You'll get something like the Hyper 212 Evo, even if you want something cheap and effective. So really, just processor and CPU cooler, you're in $280. Where if you go with Haswell, you can go with something like the i5 4690K for 230 bucks. And then if you don't want to overclock, you could get like one of the like the i5 4430 or 4460 for around the $200 or $189 price range. And you've just got a lot more options. There's only 2 SKUs with Skylake right now. So at $700 to $800, you're not going to feel bad about going with that processor. Now for motherboards, I would really recommend you go with the Asus Z87 Pro here. It's on rebate this month at Amazon, $109. So, you know, you compare that to what it was, $200 when it was released. Again, pretty good deal. You get a ton of features. You get a very solid motherboard that's going to be great at overclocking. Put it together with something like the Hyper 212 Evo, and again, you're golden. But if you just go with the i5 4460, you can use the stock cooler that comes with it. And then, you know what? For processor and CPU cooler, you're still at that $189. So since we're being mindful of our budget, it definitely seems the way to go. Okay, for graphics card, you can really go with the R9 390 or the GTX 970. Both similar price. It's around as low as $300 if you're lucky, but probably around that $330 that you're going to spend for either one of these. Now, taking a look at the benchmarks, I'm going to show you some benchmarks that Guru 3D did just to give you an example. Tomb Raider in 1440p, we have the 390 coming in at 96 FPS with the GTX 970 at 83 FPS. Battlefield Hardline at 1440p. It's still a pretty big difference here. R9 390, 48, and the GTX 970. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt in ultra quality, the R9 390 at 39 frames and the GTX 970 at 42. So a little bit flip-flops a little bit there. Obviously, an NVIDIA GameWorks title makes a little bit of a difference there. Grand Theft Auto, the R9 390 at 58, GTX 970 at 55. So overall, the R9 390, what I'm trying to say is just going to be the better performer here. And if you're looking strictly for 1440p performance, especially, some of these FPS numbers are going to tighten down when we go back to 1080p. But in 1440p, especially, the R9 390 is the better performer. So you might be wondering why I purchased the GTX 970 anyway a couple months ago, and I'll tell you why. There's a few different reasons here. Number one is it was coming with 2 free games, Witcher 3 and Batman Arkham Knight. And so between those two, it was pretty much $120 off. Even today, you get the Metal Gear game, and it's another $60 off. You get another AAA title. So really, if you wanted that game, then the GTX 970 is coming in at more like $270. So if we're comparing apples to apples here, if you're willing to include the game, then the GTX 970 feels a little bit more cheaper. Not only that, it's a little bit more energy efficient. So over time, I think that's something that will be nice to have. Now, if you really want overclocked benchmarks, I highly recommend you go look at JZ2Sense's R9 390 versus GTX 970 to see which one you'd like more. Really, it could go either way here. You could go with the 970 or the R9 390, and I don't think anybody would say anything to you. Both are great options. For memory, we're going with something super cheap here. The Kingston HyperX Fury 1866 memory should be about $45 to $50 this month. Absolutely good deal. Keep in mind, though, that if you go with a Skylake motherboard, you're going to need DDR4 memory unless you have that UnitM feature on your motherboard, which I don't think many will have. For storage option, we're going with the 1 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Blue Drive, and I'm going to recommend, like I do pretty much on every build, even in this price range, you just splurge and go a little bit over the budget here. Purchase a $50 solid state drive. There's a 128 gigabyte drive from Kingston that I think it's like the SSD Now or something that would allow you to put your OS and important programs on there, and it would just make everything run super smooth. For gaming cases, I like the Antec 302 here. It's fantastic value at around $45 after rebate. Hopefully that rebate sticks around. If it's not, there's plenty of other good cases in the under $50 price category. All right, so I've been given a little bit of grief about the power supplies that I recommend for my budget builds, but I really don't take them back. I understand the problems with them, that they won't last you forever, but I really feel like these cheap builds you're going to use for 3 to 5 years, and then then you'll get rid of them or something like that. And if somebody has a cheap power supply that only costs them $25 to $30 that powered their inexpensive components for a while, I think that's just fine. And I think that's reflected in the many positive reviews you see about these power supplies, like the 500 watt EVGA one or the CX Builder series power supplies. But for this build, since it's a little bit more expensive, I'm going to recommend a slightly different power supply here. It's the Antec EarthWatts EA-650. This 650 watt power supply is absolutely a great power supply, and it is only $49.99 after a $20 rebate card this month on Newegg, and it would be a very good deal. If you come in and this rebate isn't available, go with something similar. Don't be afraid to splurge up a little bit on your power supply for something quality that will protect your components for a long time and power them as well. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Our $700 to $800 build seems like a really good one that will allow you to play AAA titles in over 60 FPS and even some games in 1440p, no problem. There you are, in and out of the gate for really a pretty small budget compared to what I've spent in the past, and it's amazing what you can do. If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask me. You can go to forum.top10gamer.com. Trying to start that. It's a pretty small forum. We've only got a few regular visitors, but I try to post all of my links there and things like that, so you can come and take a look at that. Or you can just go to top10gamer.com for some pretty good information. My good friend Joker at Joker Productions writes there as well, and so you get a few articles from there that we collaborate on and things like that. So that seems pretty cool as well. Thanks so much for being here. If you like this video, you want me to make more like it, press that like and subscribe button. That helps us out. That helps the channel grow. I appreciate it so much. Again, thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.